There is a brand new Batman animated series dropping on Prime Video. It's called Batman Caped Crusader, and it is, this list of names is just amazing. And it is produced by Bruce Timm of Batman the Animated Series fame, Matt Reeves, the director of The Batman, and the one and only J.J. Abrams. Let me tell you, Prime Video struck gold with this one because we have no idea what Zaslav is doing ditching this. It was supposed to be a Max series. They ditched it. Prime Video actually greenlit it for 2 seasons, and we got to watch the first 10 episodes of season 1. And boy, am I excited.
You forgot to mention Ed motherfucking Brubaker in this.
I was going to get to that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I spoil it for you? But yeah, also that.
I was going to get to Ed motherfucking Brubaker because the writers on this show. So Ed Brubaker is one of the producers, but he's also one of the writers. And the writers, the lineup of writers on this show. If you don't know, Ed Brubaker is a fantastic comic book writer. He has written some phenomenal comics. And Greg Rucka, along with Ed Brubaker, wrote the definitive comic book run on Gotham PD. It was called Gotham Central. It is what I wanted the Gotham TV series to be, but it ended up being garbage. And it's what this show is.
Yeah.
It's like they've blended Batman the Animated Series with what you've always wanted to see with Gotham Central. And they've brought it together. There's also other phenomenal writers. Mark Bernardin wrote an episode. Hallie Gross, who wrote The Last of Us Part 2, the video game, she is a writer on this. They have a phenomenal lineup of writers. The only person I am missing, and I hope they bring him back for season 2, but the only writer I am missing is Paul Dini.
Yeah.
I did not see his name in the credits. Maybe he was busy. I hope they get him back for season 2. But first 10 episodes of this, man, like this is, in my mind, the spiritual successor to Batman the Animated Series, even though it's not related in any way, just stylistically. But this one is actually Batman Year One. I know it's not explicitly spelt out, but it feels very similar to the Matt Reeves Batman. We're getting him in a very early stage in his career. He's meeting these new villains. He's still learning how to be Batman. He's got a bit of a strained relationship with Alfred. This is the Batman I like.
And for anybody who's got problem with this not being a continuation from the Batman animated series, think of it as just a different comic run, right?
Yes.
Like you and I are both reading multiple Batman storylines, right? We're reading the Batman comic, we're reading the Detective Knight, we're reading whatever short run comic books that DC releases of Batman. And this feels like that. The Batman here looks a lot more like the 1940s Bob Kane Batman. He's got the really sharp ears with a slightly smaller, pointier head, and that's really exciting. Also, just the voice cast in this thing is baller. Hamish Linklater is doing Batman Bruce Wayne. McKenna Grace is in this. Haley Joel Osment, Christina Ricci, David Krumholtz, Toby Stevens, Jamie Chung. Look, Tom Kenny is in this. SpongeBob himself is in this.
Yeah.
Reed Scott, Minnie Driver. The lineup is fantastic. I never really watched the animated series, the original animated series. It just missed. It just sort of missed me, and I could never bring myself to sort of go back to it. This feels like what I would want from a Gotham TV show. Yes, it's called Batman Caped Crusader, but it's not 10 episodes of the adventures of Batman.
Actually, before we get into that, I just want to talk about Hamish Linklater. Because you're going to come into this with Kevin Conroy in your mind. And Kevin Conroy passed away recently, and it was a terrible loss. He was the definitive Batman, if you ask me. Actually, in fact, if you ask me, Batman the Animated Series is the definitive Batman, with Mask of the Phantasm being my number one favorite Batman movie. Everything else, all the live action stuff, comes later, right? And Kevin Conroy is iconic. However, I am happy to report that Hamish Linklater does an incredible job. He doesn't mimic Kevin Conroy. He's making it his own, but I feel it has a lot more gravitas than Pattinson, than Bale, like than all of the live action Batman. He doesn't do that gruffness. He does a deepness, which is what Kevin Conroy used to do. He doesn't pretend to do the "I'm Batman" thing, which I feel is unnecessary. And I like it. It worked for me. And that was my biggest concern going into this. I was like, what is Batman going to sound like? That's really important. And all of your fears will be allayed. I know mine were.
I also think, with regards to Hamish Linklater and Batman and Bruce Wayne, I think there's a couple of sequences where Hamish Linklater makes it clear that Bruce Wayne is the put on.
Yes.
It's not Batman. Unlike some of the films that we've seen where the actor's decision has been to sort of butch up Batman and then just be normal human guy for everything else. In this, Hamish Linklater plays it the other way around. He plays the Playboy Bruce Wayne thing and even changes his voice for when he's talking to other people as Bruce Wayne. But even in private with Alfred, even as Bruce Wayne, he's got the Batman voice. And I feel like that tells you a lot more about the psyche of this version of the Batman and Bruce Wayne than any of the films have done.
And it sounds very distinct. And it works really well. The thing I love most about it, though, is it captures the essence of the Bob Kane Batman to a certain extent, the Bob Kane Bill Finger Batman, where he is a detective. And they fold in the Gotham PD storylines with it. There is a focus on a wide range of characters, including Gordon and Montoya and Barbara Gordon. And there are some episodes where Batman is featured very little because the police are doing their work. Like, this isn't the Adam West Batman where something happens and then there are sequences of the police hanging around going, oh my God, what do? We don't know what to do. And the police are really stupid until they call Batman, right?
Yeah.
Here, the police are competent and effective. They're fighting corruption within their ranks. And then there's also the Batman who is doing his own work, and they're not sure whether to trust him or not. He doesn't have that chummy relationship with Gordon yet. It is very early years. And man, let me tell you, the reason I love this so much is because it feels like it's channeling the tone of The Long Halloween, which is one of my favorite runs of Batman ever, which is the Jeff Loeb Tim Sale comic book.
Yep.
And it tells the story. It's an early Batman story. It tells the origin of Two-Face and all of this stuff and Harvey Dent and how he used to work very closely with Gordon and Batman. And man, this channels that to a T. Like, it's not the same story, but the tone and the writing and the way it's told. And there's so much good. You've seen the second episode. The second episode, there's this movie starlet that goes missing. And then they have this fantastic homage to like Zorro and Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much cool stuff that happens in the show.
Not just cool stuff, but like, I believe it was episode 5 or 4, the one with Firebug in it.
That's some dark shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but I did not expect that to happen at the end.
Same.
I was like, holy shit. Like I said, I have not seen the animated series, but things like that don't happen in animated cartoons.
And so here's the thing, right? With Batman the Animated Series, they tried to push the envelope as far as they could go. However, it was released at a time when network television kept going, this is a show for kids, make it a show for kids, right? With Mask of the Phantasm, they could go a little further. But I feel like Bruce Timm finally is allowed to tell the stories he wants to tell. And so you have this style and this tone, but it doesn't shy away from the darkness anymore.
It really doesn't pull any punches. Episode 5 does a thing with the mysticism elements of the DC world. I think it was 5.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because, like, yes, there's all the grounded detective stuff, but then there's also the supernatural stuff that we do see in Batman comics.
Which I think is just fantastic. Like, look, I'm getting goosebumps. Just talking about it, right? Like, I love that they went there. I love that they decided that the comics have done Batman fighting off with magical, mystical beings. So let's do that here.
Yeah, let's not be shy about it.
Let's not be shy about it. Let's not fuck about, right? Look.
It's a comic book. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, let's just go there, right? Yeah.
Oh, the series is so good. So the episodes are standalone and they have Mysteries of the Week and Monsters of the Week. However, there is an overarching plot that runs across, like a B plot that runs across all 10 episodes. A lot of that B plot has to do with Harvey Dent, but also has to do with Bruce Wayne and Batman's journey as the character in discovering who they are, and also the Gordon's journey as well. I say Gordon's because it's Commissioner Gordon and Barbara Gordon as well. So
Yeah.
there's all of these small plots that run throughout, and then some of them are kind of resolved midway through the show, and then some are resolved later, and there's a fantastic thing with Harley, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. So I don't know what Max were thinking. Max were crazy. Max are crazy. Like, Prime Video has struck gold with this.
Let's just try and unpack that for a little bit. I put it down to just Zaslav looking for money.
Yeah, just jitters, right?
I think it's just jitters. I think he knows nothing of the DC comics and the DC animated stuff. He thinks they're not popular. He thinks they're not important. They're not bringing in money at the cinema. There's no red carpets for him to show up at. So, like, fuck it. We'll just sell it off to whoever who wants it, right?
But it makes no sense to me, right? Because Bruce Timm, Abrams, Reeves, Ed Brubaker, like those four names alone should signify a certain amount of quality. And also, even the slightest bit of research will show you that those four names together on Batman mean something.
This isn't going to be something that will impress the stockholders.
Possibly.
I think it's just simple as that. The DC animated universe is never going to move the needle for the stockholders. So let's just make what little money we can by selling it off to someone and just move on. And just focus on the Colin Farrell Penguin. Let's just focus on the Matt Reeves Batman. Let's just focus on what James Gunn wants to do with the DC universe and just be done with it.
But even that, I don't even know what's happening there. But hey, did you see the announcement last week? So Penguin is no longer Max. It's now
Huh?
HBO.
Oh, now it's full on HBO.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're trying to unwind the Max branding, or yet again, if it's an accounting thing, because HBO accounting is different from Max accounting. So they're going to transfer it to HBO because maybe HBO has more money. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, dude, it's really weird.
I still won't be surprised if on the down low, Zaslav is not actively looking, but is potentially open to a DC sale.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I feel like as much as he loves the DC live action stuff, there's too much to DC that he doesn't know what to do with. The books, the TV shows, the comics.
I think everyone's going to be holding their breath until James Gunn releases Superman lah.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like Zaslav really doesn't have any respect for that brand and is probably open to just getting rid of it.
But I'm so happy that Prime Video picked this up because it is a phenomenal show. I can't wait for season 2. We highly, highly, highly recommend you watch Batman Caped Crusader. You don't need to watch anything else to get into this. You can go in blind, you can go in fresh. It's everything you expect from a Bruce Timm series. Check it out. Let us know what you think. You know how to reach out. Goggler MY, all of our social media feeds. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.